Hey there guys, EctoMaster here. We are back with another brand new start to the case files. I figured as we were coming to the very end of Warlords of Draenor, we should talk about Warlords of Draenor. So this is a case file for Warlords of Draenor. Of course, I don't know how many more times I could say that title, but I did. So this is going to be what I think about Warlords of Draenor. See, I'm just going to keep on going. Just keep on going. Anyways, so what this is about is my thoughts and final feel of the expansion and whether or not I believe it was good. So let's get into it. So basically, there came in a lot of promise with this, you know, the whole time travel aspect, the alternate reality, the whole garrison thing. I mean, a lot of it looked very promising, the whole, a lot more voice acting, etc., etc. That all kind of factored into it, and I thought it had a lot of promise to it. And when I leveled my first toon to 100, I was like, oh my god, this was an experience. I absolutely love this. This is great. Then I leveled a second toon to 100. Then I leveled a third. And that's it. I've stopped after 3. I'm working on one more. I've gotten 3 to the mid-90s, and that's where I kind of just stopped. I did enjoy this for what it was, but there's a lot to be left desired from this game. There was a lot of promise, as I said, and there was a lot of non-delivery. I thought the premise was a great idea and a great start, a great fresh view, a fresh look. Hey, let's go back to Draenor and see what it was like before it fell apart. Great idea, love that. So we have this whole Iron Horde. Wonderful. They could be a continuous thorn in our side. Garrisons, great idea. Absolutely loved it. Player housing, we wanted this. This is what we want. This is what we need. We've been dying for it. And in the end, if you played it once, it delivered. If you played it twice, it doesn't. I liked it for what it was. It was great to start, but I think there was too much emphasis on number 1, the garrisons, and number 2, not on anything else. The one problem that I have with this game, and I summed it up with my brother earlier today, is that I believe there is a lot to do, but at the same time, nothing to do. And by that I mean, if you're looking at the garrison, there is way too much to do. Gathering, or, I mean, it sounds simple, but at the same time, it isn't. For example, the whole newest added addition of the shipyard is tied in with a daily, where if you don't do this daily quest, then you're not getting oil, and if you're not getting oil, you can't send out ships, and if you can't send out ships, you can't get the quest done or the missions done. And that to me just, it seems like too much. And then you look at it going, well, what else is there to do? What else can we do? Not much else. There's a lot to do in the garrisons themselves, but in the world there really isn't. And for somebody, I hate to use the C word and use casual, but as a casual gamer, somebody who doesn't have time because he is working on a YouTube channel or he's working period, it really just didn't bring everybody back in. Again, had a lot of promise, but it almost now feels like a filler to Mr. Pandaria and now the announced Legion, and almost like a plot device in and of itself, so that we could get Gul'dan back to summon Illidan or whatever it is that he's doing in Legion, and that's what it kind of feels like in this. Again, there was a whole lot. When I played the Alliance and I was in Shadowmoon Valley as we are now, I was loving it. When I was in Frostfire running around with my horde, that was great. once you started getting away from that and started getting back into the world PvP and things like that on a PvP server, then it started becoming annoying. Then I was able to move my hunter, who I so desperately wanted to get to 100. That was, I was able to level her up to 100 finally. But at that point, between having to run the garrison missions, running LFR, doing this, running out into the world, doing that, it just seemed like there was so much that you had to do. It's like they took the dailies from Mist and just made them garrisons instead, which is great in that all I had to do was just go to one place and I was done. And I could send guys out on missions and they come back with stuff. That was great. But at the same time, it just feels like it just replaced dailies with that. And it just, at some point, it got to, I literally looked in, and there was many a time I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't put my my stuff up on the auction house. Or, oops, I didn't go digging for ore today. I didn't go into the mine. Or even to the point of, oh yeah, I didn't send anybody out on quests, did I? Oops, oh well. I think the lack of a main hub, much like, I'll say it as much like Dalaran, or even when they had proposed the idea of, we have the main hub as we're coming up to it, and Ashran, but it's a PvP zone. So for a lot of people who don't PvP, this is, not what we were looking for. We were looking for, an area that was PvE, something where it was neutral, where nobody could bother each other. I did like the ideas of having separate places to go, but at the same time, when they had implemented garrisons, nobody had a reason to leave, because everything you needed to do was right there in the garrison, rather than, say, going out to, Ashran. I went to Ashran mainly and only to put things on the auction house, because there's a quest to get an auction house in your garrison, but it was one that's rather hard to do. And I'm not complaining that it was hard to do, but the fact that everything that I have to do is in the garrison except for this one quest, and that made me have to travel the world and do this. And at the same time, I just look at that and go, I don't have the time nor the drive to spend just trying to collect all of these possible drops to get these items, to finish this quest, to get the auction house guy, just to put things up on the auction house, because I wasn't an engineer. On top of that, at the same time, I look at it going, I don't have time to do these daily quests for the fishing thing. I never upgraded my fishing shack. Not once. I wasn't fishing. I was never bothering with the battle pets, although I enjoyed it and leveled up 3 battle pets that I liked. They weren't the right battle pets to always battle, and I don't have a whole slew of collection of battle pets to use. Things became a little bit more, well, you have to do all this. You have to, in order to do this. I remember when I first tried to do the battle pet thing, I had to wait for an update patch that made it easier to do the battle pets, because not everybody did them, and you have this quest that just sits there saying, hey, to unlock the battle pet area, you have to do this quest. And personally, I wish that they could have at least allowed the removal of the battle pet, or the removal of the fishing shack, or the mine, or something, because my Death Knight, who is not an herbalist, has all these herbs sitting on her. Everybody's getting herbs, everybody's getting ore, so they're not worth anything on the auction house. And the worst of it all is, I don't have an alt to really send it to, because to use all that stuff, I really got to put the time in again to level up, and that's other things that I have to do, and I just didn't come around to it, and I never got to it. The other thing that really, really disappointed me with this expansion pack is that, oh, hey, yeah, so we get to see everything before it was destroyed by, the dark energies and everything like that. Before, Draenor as it was. And we never could go into Shattrath. It's like we fought up to the door, and it's like, okay, well, Shattrath is barricaded, so nobody can come in. But I want to see it. If there is any place I want to see, it's something like Shattrath, where I spent all of my time in Burning Crusade in. I want to see it. And you couldn't. I also think that they missed out with the Faralorn, the ogre place. I really wish that they had more of that, and they had fleshed that out so that we could see that as well. But they never did anything with that. It kind of crashed and burned. And they didn't move on at all from that whatsoever. They just kind of left it. Oh yeah, well, we didn't think it was the timing was right. And I'm honestly sitting here going, we probably could have gotten another patch out of that if, more content out of it, if we had something else to go and do. Otherwise, we're just on this tiny little continent in Draenor, and as of right now, this is it. This is all we're getting out of Draenor. We're not coming back. And I wish we could have seen more of Draenor. I also would have loved to see some kind of tie into the alternate Azeroth. I know they keep on saying there is no alternate Azeroth. There is. There has to be. If there's an alternate Draenor, there's an alternate Azeroth. We all know this to be true. Because they were going to build that portal one way or another. They were building the portal. And the whole reason that they were building the portal was so that they could invade their Azeroth. It's just that Garrosh took them in a totally different direction. I just felt like there was an overwhelming amount of minutia to do, rather than an underwhelming of actual content. It felt like there was a great story in place that was truncated because of whatever reason. And I feel just like there was something left on the table. Like, you grab the steak, you grab the potatoes, but you left the chicken. And there's just nothing. There's something missing from this expansion that would have made this expansion fantastic, great. And in the end, it just kind of leaves a little bit of a disappointing taste in the mouth. It's kind of like, well, it was interesting, I guess. It was all right. I mean, I never really felt like our Azeroth was in danger. I felt like I was I never felt like I was isolated from our Azeroth. Oh yeah, the Dark Portal crumbled, but we got portals to get you back to Orgrimmar if you need to go. And I know the reasoning behind it is that we don't want you to move from your actual home. But at the same time, there was no feeling of you're stuck here until we can get something back. It feels like, and then we meet awesome characters that are here, like Duratan. We hook up with Duratan. We hook up with Yrel, and it's just like, what is going to come up? What is going to become of them? It's something that I can't. There's something missing. It just feels like there was something left out, something missing that could have made this expansion so much better than what we got. And it just feels underwhelmed and kind of, I hate to use the word filler between the two expansions. Between Mist, Mist, which set up, hey, the Burning Legion is coming. And then Legion, which is, hey, the Burning Legion is here. Warlords just felt like it was shoehorned in to bring in characters that were necessary, I guess you could say, to wrap up Garrosh, and to almost. I honestly think that if they had pushed this, they probably could have gotten another 6-7 months out of the game with extra content, with more content than what was given. But with what was given, there's not a whole lot. So the fact that they're already saying, hey, the next expansion is coming out, and we actually have a beta later this year, I don't know. This expansion felt so promising, and I just think it underperformed. I think, and this is being honest, Mist had more meat to its bones than this did, and this was supposed to be way better than Mist. And Mist, I did every raid, even if it was just LFR. I did every raid up until Siege of Orgrimmar, and I just didn't have time for Siege. This, I could barely even get into any of the LFRs, and to be honest, as of this recording, still have not done Hellfire Citadel. I haven't even done one boss in, and at least with Siege of Orgrimmar, I had at least gotten up to General Nazgrim, and that's as far as I got into that. But here, I haven't completed not even one boss. I have done the first raid, but I have not finished the second raid, and I have not even started the third and final raid. So I feel overwhelmed with the minutia and underwhelmed with content. And I think Warlords was okay. It may be good. Great. Wouldn't say that. Game changing, definitely not. And here's hoping that Legion brings a game changer to it with everything that's showing. Again, we're seeing a lot of promise. Who knows what we'll see from there. And that's all I have for this week, guys. We'll be back hopefully next week with another case file. Until then, I am EctoMaster, and I will see you guys next time.